All right, welcome
All
back,
right, welcome
James.
back to the Shardbreaker podcast.
It's
You,
me,
you gonna continue
Darkness.
my opening,
Oh, I could. I mean, I could.
Do it.
How
Confuse
many
the
how many times
people.
have you heard this fucking
or
thing?
you want to try to say it? The full
Sure.
thing.
Welcome back to the Shardbreaker podcast. We read chapters 4 to 7 of The Way of Kings, and yeah, let's get back. Let's get into it.
We're
Come
gonna
on.
introduce us all.
Nope, I'm not doing that. They already know who we are. I'm Mythic. That's Darkness, and that's Midnight. Boom.
Yeah,
Done.
I'm Midnight, and then the one laughing
Yeah,
is
exactly.
Darkness.
Exactly. Uh huh.
Oh my gosh. All right, well, right into chapter 4, called The Shattered Plains. First of all, we get the epigraph, which is, I'm dying, aren't I? Healer, why do you take my blood? Who is that beside you, with his head of lines? I can see a distant sun, dark and cold, shining in a black sky. Collected on the 3rd of Yeznan, 1172, 11 seconds pre-death. Subject was a Reshi Chull trainer. Sample is of particular note. What, do you have any ideas of why this is of particular note? What do you think about it is of particular note?
It's just fancy.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's just got a lot of flourish. Particular.
Do you guys recognize it all? A distant sun, dark and cold, shining in a black sky? Remind you of anything?
Yes,
Yeah.
'cause I had the same exact thought, which I'm pretty sure it's like
Isn't that the
me
one
thinking
place?
of the fuck. I completely blanked on what we literally read like 3 books on.
Right? Wait, honestly, I mean, I don't even hear these epigraphs don't come up in my thing, so
It sounds like the like a description of like what's the place called?
oh.
I don't know. What do you think here?
The world, the fucking
The
Vince
Sand
World.
World, Vince
It sounds
World.
like Vince World.
Oh, Scadrial?
Yeah.
Skate.
Mm.
I was gonna say ska, but
No, there is no ska in this world. There's no impurities. Wait, no, I'm wrong. We literally
You're-
have a whole ska perspective.
yeah, you're an impurity, Darkness. So
Oh no,
Damn.
they talk about me in one of the epigraphs. They like
and
me.
you're impure.
Or
Yeah.
maybe they don't like me, but it's still I'm important.
Still, I'm important.
So we start with Kaladin's point of view, as the Windspan asks why he doesn't cry since the others cry at night. Kaladin just asks what crying would change, but the Windspan replies that she doesn't know why men cry. Kaladin just tells her to ask the Almighty. He feels pain as sweat drips from his forehead.
Ask the Almighty.
He feels pain as the sweat drips from his forehead into the sash brand wound, and hopes that the summer will turn into spring soon, since weather and seasons are unpredictable. Although seasons often last a few weeks each. Kaladin glances out at the landscape and notices the grass pulling away from the wagons and then popping out again once the wagons had passed, as well as the needle-like leaves on the tree branches doing the same. So what do you think about how the seasons are unpredictable? Like, apparently you can go from summer to spring, like, a few weeks. Like, it's going kind of backwards and weird.
That's cool, and two, fucking, I hate that the fact that like it feels like even though it's like healing, like keep that shit covered.
I don't think he has anything to keep it covered with.
Keep this cloth on him, like
I
The
don't know.
cloth is probably dirty.
Yeah, you're just asking for him to get an infection,
Right?
okay, but he does it anyway.
Mm.
He literally does it anyway, like.
Yeah, that brand on his head is getting all gross and fucked up.
Right. He's asking for an infection without the chance of like actual like non-infection. Like.
Did you have any thoughts about the seasons, Mythic?
About the seasons? No, not really. I mean, it sounds
I-
harsh, to be honest.
Sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
So Kaladin,
Well, it depends. Could be hot.
Funny. Puns.
Kaladin notices that they hadn't stopped yet for their afternoon slop and can see that Tevlakov and his men seemingly are arguing over a map. He calls out, asking if Tevlakov is lost, and asks the Almighty for help, as he has a special place in damnation for slavers. Tevlakov then comes over to him and asks him to look at the map, to which Kaladin snatches it and rips it apart. The mercenaries come over, and Kaladin tosses the pieces of paper like confetti and says, "Happy Middlefest." He then moves to the other side of the wagon, but continues facing the men. Tevlakov and the mercenaries whisper a bit, and then Tevlakov tries to convince Kaladin to lead them through this area, as it's common for Alethi soldiers to come through here. Kaladin refuses, though, saying he'd rather throw Tevlakov off a cliff. Tevlakov says that Kaladin's life isn't over, and he could work off his slavery or convince a master to set him free. But Kaladin replies that he doesn't think of escape anymore, and that it's unlikely that he'll be able to work off his slavery. Tvlakov also mentions High Lord Amaram, which causes Kaladin to think of wanting to find him and kill him. He also asks how Tvlakov knows who made him a slave, and Tvlakov just replies that slavers talk. Kaladin states that Tvlakov must know he isn't a deserter then, to which Tvlakov replies that he will pretend that Kaladin is one. So what do you think the actual reason for Kaladin becoming a slave then, if he isn't actually a deserter? They're just apparently lying about that.
Must have done something real heinous. They're trying to wipe it away.
I feel like he's, I don't know.
Could be something stupid like he had relations with the last slave master's wife or something.
No, there's no way. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like he just, because he's talking about killing and then not killing, and maybe it's not like a deserter in a way of oh, he chose to abandon the cause or whatever, but he refused to do this one specific act.
You think maybe he refused to kill someone or something?
Yeah, and they got pissed off because that's what they needed the most.
Yeah, and it kind of makes sense.
And it was
sorry, go ahead.
And if it's something that they weren't supposed to do in the beginning, they would have wanted to hide it as a deserter thing. So.
But yeah, it kind of makes sense that he's not actually a deserter because he apparently was made a slave not long after we saw his perspective as a soldier, and he definitely didn't seem like he was ready to desert at that point.
Yeah.
So.
It was working his ass off to get to that,
To the Sharded Plane, which he gets to. We'll get there, but he gets there.
Yeah.
Not the way he wants to, but he does get there.
I mean, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he accomplished his goal just in a different way. But yeah, so Tvlakov again tries to get Kaladin to give him details of the area and where to go, but Kaladin replies that he hasn't been this way. Tvlakov believes Kaladin and tells him that if he comes across any portraits of his ex-wives, he'll make sure Kaladin gets a hold of them. Kaladin watches the man leave and confesses to the Windspren that he almost finds himself liking the slaver. He calls the man a likable bastard, which is the worst kind, because you find yourself feeling guilty for killing them. So were you surprised that Kaladin didn't get any sort of punishment for ripping up the map?
No, because he kind of gets a punishment later.
He's like,
Well, to be fair, I expected the dude to have temper issues.
He's just a pretty chill guy, this Tvlakov.
He's something. I wouldn't say chill.
He's definitely more chill than Gaz is later. So we then skip to Kaladin being boarded up in the wagon with the other slaves as the high storm rages. They can't see out, but icy rainwater leaks in through cracks, and they can see flashes of lightning. Wind and thunder rattle the wagon, and Kaladin thinks that Tvlakov had almost missed this high storm due to the fact that the map Kaladin had ripped up also had the high storm dates written on it. This also causes Kaladin to think about how his father had made a hobby of predicting high storms, and had gotten it right usually 8 out of 10 times. Kaladin didn't fear the stories that people told of voidbringers coming during the storms, or the creatures that walked through the storms, but instead he feared a boulder crushing the enclosure that Tvlakov is in, and thus leaving him and the slaves slowly to die in the boarded up wagon, as the mercenaries were likely to run off and leave them. So yeah, what do you think about the fact that high storms can be predicted mathematically and can also apparently throw boulders around?
Those are some strong motherfuckers for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a crazy. It's no wonder that all their towns and stuff are built around where the high storm blows from. Like Carbranth, it's just oh yeah, we're protected from the high storm, so we're safe because it can throw boulders at you. Yeah, they're apparently also predictable though.
Well, I mean that's good. It's a good thing that they can predict them.
More predictable, at least in the seasons and the weather, apparently. Otherwise,
right.
So as the storm starts to settle down a little, Kaladin wonders if the Windspren draw the wind to them or if they are drawn to the wind. So what do you guys think? Do you think Spren are drawn to what they're named after, or do they create the thing that
I think they create? I think they create it.
I think they are.
So it's not oh, it's windy, the Windspren will come. It's windy because the Windspren are here.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's windy because the Windspren are there, to be honest.
Bluth then opens up the wooden sidings of the cages to have the rain wash the slaves, as apparently they need to be extra clean, although he doesn't explain why. Kaladin assumes they are nearing their destination, as he glances about the landscape as various creatures and plants come to life due to the rain. Windspren flitted around above, and Lifespren glowed around plants. Tvlakov comes out of his waterproof enclosure sooner than usual, and they begin moving again. The Windspren that usually hangs around Kaladin shows up and tells him that there are other people to the east. Kaladin glances into the distance and can faintly see smoke. However, as they get closer, Kaladin doesn't see a coastal town, but instead a giant war camp with 10 different colored areas. They were at the Shattered Plains. Kaladin finds it ironic that he finally makes it here after both him and Tien had wanted to get here for so long. So yeah, were you surprised that Kaladin ended up at the Shattered Plains?
It was. and I was also upset because I knew he was gonna get put in the position he got put in. Just not like doing exactly that, but like I figured it would be something like that.
Not something he'd want to be doing, basically.
Yeah. More like something that would like.
I actually thought at one point that the person was going to be like, "Yeah, you could be a soldier."
I wanted it
Even
so
after the one
bad,
dude,
but
yeah, even after the one dude was like, "No, we can't do that," and I was like, totally thinking that they're
I'm,
gonna just be like, out of nowhere, out of pocket, be like, "Yep, you could be a soldier."
I got so disappointed that he didn't put up more of a fight for that. But I mean, like, I guess it makes sense considering where
Slave,
he's
you can't
been
really
this
put
whole
up a,
time.
you can't really put up a fight.
Yeah, he's probably worried that like if I put up a fight, they're gonna think me as more disobedient and just like
Mm-hmm.
definitely not let me do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets him nowhere, to be honest.
But honestly, I figured he would be put in a position where, and I don't know if it's gonna happen, but I really hope that it does happen, where he like can, show his like, I
Skills.
guess skills. Yeah.
Yeah, because he was like one of like
Abilities,
the
yeah.
they were talking about how like amazing of a spearman he was in like the first chapter or
Mm-hmm.
two.
Hmm.
Him.
I hated when they went and said like, oh, he probably didn't even hold the spear or something.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
like he
Uh-huh.
probably just like wasn't even doing actually anything in the army. It's like you.
Yeah.
That pissed me off so much. I think I wanted to stop right there and then, but
To be fair, like he is very young, like, and he's dark eye, so it's not like he would have been like. They probably don't assume he'd be fighting on like the front lines as much. They're probably like, oh, he was probably similar to. He was probably like a messenger or like some lower job because of his age.
Lowborn.
Mm.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Not just low born, but just like
He's lowborn. It's
I mean,
okay.
he is low born, but he's also it's all because he's dark eye, but it's also just like because they talk about how like a bunch of the frontliners are also dark eyed soldiers, but they're probably like older than Kaladin, like 20s or 30s, whereas he's 19.
I mean, that's not that much older.
No, but like also if he's been a slave for almost a year, they're probably like, oh, he was probably in the army for a couple years and he did like the lowly jobs and he wasn't actually fighting.
Yeah. True.
And if he was fighting, he probably would have died, so obviously he didn't. So the other slaves get excited at the sight of the war camps, as they had heard about the king's slaves being treated very well. They also mention how in foreign countries, or how that in foreign countries they pay their slaves. Although Kaladin thinks that slaves get paid half of what non-slaves get paid, but it's still something. The only people who aren't paid are Ardents, who can't own anything anyways, and Parshmen, who are basically animals. Slaves could also work off their slave debt to become free again, but it was rare that it ever happened, and Kaladin thought that was more of a law to keep slaves docile as the debts were almost impossible to pay off. So what do you think about slaves being able to work off their debts, technically?
But I mean, even if there's a chance, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like it just gives them hope, and that's the only reason it's there. Because like he said that they wouldn't even let him get to that point, anyways.
I
Yeah,
mean,
he's... Sorry, go ahead, Darkness.
letting them get that hope is a good thing
No, it's not.
for them. Yeah.
Okay, so darkness. If I tell you I'm gonna hand you a piece of candy that you really wanted, okay, but like I'll give it to you in 2 weeks. You're gonna think about it for 2 weeks, and then when I don't
I
give
was
it to
talking about the
you,
slavers.
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Oh,
but
you
I'm
think it's
just
good for the slavers, yeah.
oh, it's good for the
Yeah.
slaver.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay,
Yes.
yeah. All right, I thought you were talking about it's good for them. You said them. I thought you were talking
Mm.
about Kaladin and them.
Oh yeah,
No,
it's
I
definitely
meant
good for
for
the
the
So,
slavers because
slavers.
they're like, oh, they'll
Yeah,
be
'cause
less
it's
yeah.
likely
gonna
to
like
escape if they think they have a chance of
Yes.
like redeeming themselves.
Mhm.
Whereas if they have no chance, it's like, oh, they're
no.
obviously going to
Why would
escape.
I? Why would I think about the like slaves, bro? Like ain't nobody
We
care.
were talking about the
Wow.
slaves. I assumed you were
I
talking
think I'm
about
a
the
good
slaves.
person. No.
Yes, actually, I do think you're a good
Oh
person.
no, I would
Deep,
never.
deep, deep down.
Darkness is like me. We pretend that we don't want to be good people, but we're actually very good people.
What? I would never
What? Midnight?
pretend
No,
something like that.
midnight. You're the other way around. Don't
Am
don't
I?
lie. Yeah,
I'm
you're
okay with
definitely
that.
the other way around. You're a good person that wants to be a bad person so bad, but you can't.
That's why I'm saying Darkness is too. He wants to be a bad person, but he's not. He can't be.
I am a
No, you're not.
No, darkness is a
horrible
bad.
person.
No, darkness is a bad person. Just has a very little bit
Oh.
somewhere deep, 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 deep down
Nah.
inside.
I'm like, maybe. No.
um, yeah, so thinking about paying off debts also made Kaladin think about the light eyes that he had known that had been corrupt. Rashon, Amaram, and Katarotum, which I don't believe we only know one of those names, I think, at the moment, which is Amaram, which apparently he was in charge of his army in the past. The slaves continue to talk about the king and justice, but Kaladin isn't convinced that there is any justice. The armies were here to fight for the Vengeance Pact, and the one thing Kaladin still longed for was the chance to hold a spear and to be a man who cared again. That is the end of chapter 4, and then we move to chapter 5, Heretic. The epigraph is, I have seen the end, and have heard it named, the Night of Sorrows, the True Desolation, the Everstorm. Collected on the 1st of Nans, 1172, 15 seconds pre-death. Subject was a dark-eyed youth of unknown origins. This is the second time the word Everstorm has come up. Do you have any new ideas on what it is, now that we also have the names for it called the Night of Sorrows and the True Desolation?
The Everstorm?
Mhm.
Yeah.
That, I don't remember what the first thing
Desolation.
was.
I can reread it for you if you want. I can go back. It's another one of the epigraphs.
Can you, please?
Yep. I'm just trying to scroll up and find it.
And she doesn't write good notes, so
I
it'll be a while.
do write good notes.
She doesn't have reference
Here we
points
go.
or anything.
It's the prologue's epigraph. So it says, the love of men is a frigid thing, a mountain stream only 3 steps from the ice. We are his, O Stormfather, we are his. It is but 1,000 days, and the Everstorm comes. Collected on the first week of Pala of the month of Shash of the year 1171, 31 seconds before death. So it was a dark-eyed pregnant woman of middle years. The child did not survive. So both these Everstorm quotes have come from dark-eyed subjects, and I think they're about a year apart. This one's it's 1171. The most recent one was 1173 or 1174? Oh no, it's also 1172. Okay. So they were from the same year, just a different month. And they're both from Dark Eyes, these quotes, apparently.
Maybe it's
Go on, Darkness, because
maybe it's like the deepness type of thing.
You think it's kind of like similar to the Deepness, where it's like this old, like, ancient evil thing?
In a way, like it could be just like what. Well, I was also thinking it could be like the stuff that those people were fighting all the way in the beginning of the book.
What, like the war they were fighting against, like the Thunderclasts
Yeah.
and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
What were your thoughts, Mythic? You said you were thinking of
I
something.
don't know. Can't put any pieces together.
Not quite yet. Right.
No. Next podcast, I'll come up with great ideas for this Everstorm, I'm sure.
All right. So we move to Shallan's point of view. She admires Yasna's beauty. She'd expected an ugly old spinster since Yasna was unmarried and well into her mid-30s. Yeah, because you get real old by the time you get to your mid-30s.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Especially
hey,
if your
when
name
life
is Minray.
when life expectancy is only probably like 45, that's pretty old.
It's definitely older than that, because I believe her uncle Dalinar Colin is like in his 50s.
I said life expectancy, not life like how long you actually live.
Fair.
Not what they expect you to die at. He's ancient. That man's ancient.
Shallan admires Yasna's long black hair that is pinned up and her pale violet eyes. She also admires her elegance and how refined she is as she glances briefly at Shallan while continuing her conversation with a man in the Carbranthian royal colors. In Yasna's free hand was her soul caster, which is a piece of metal that wraps around the wrist and fingers like a bracelet and rings, and is connected with a triangular piece holding gemstones. So what do you think about Shallan's expectation of Yasna versus how she really looks?
Repeat it. Like
what did you think of Shallan's expectation of Jasna versus how she really is?
Description?
Yeah, versus what she then actually looked like.
Her description was that she has long black hair that is pinned up. She has pale violet eyes. I believe she's tall and elegant, and refined, and she has a soul caster on her hand, which is made of metal and gemstones.
What was her thought of her, though? I don't remember that.
That soulcaster thing caught my whole attention, by the way, when I first saw it. I was like,
sure.
do we get like, information that like,
So the exact what the book says is Shallan had not expected Yasna Colin to be so beautiful. It was a stately, mature beauty, as one might find in the portrait of some historical scholar. Shallan realized that she'd naively been expecting Yasna to be an ugly spinster like the stern patrons who had tutored her.
Yeah, okay.
How else could she picture a heretic well into her mid-30s and still unmarried? Yasna was nothing like that. She was tall and slender, with clear skin, narrow black eyebrows, and thick, deep onyx hair. She wore part of it
It's an illusion.
Part of it up wrapped around a small scroll-shaped golden ornament with 2 long hairpins holding it in place. The rest tumbled down behind her neck in small, tight curls. Even twisted and curled as it was, it came down to Yasna's shoulders. If left unbound, it would be as long as Shallan's hair, reaching past the middle of her back. She had a squarish face with discriminating pale violet eyes. And then she goes into her talking.
Okay, so I mean, but like knowing the way she holds herself later, like when she's talking to her, like obviously I can understand why she's not married. She has probably the exact same amount of like rules and guidelines that a man or woman has to follow. You know,
She's got some high standards.
definitely high expectation for sure. But in all honesty, we already all know that it's gonna work out for her, and she's gonna end up being in her employment somehow, some way, and then her plan will be enacted. I'm sure. But something will go wrong and awry, and yada yada yada. I mean, that's how all these books seem to be.
I'm gonna be honest. I kind of mushed her name in my brain, like when I was reading it, because I did not want to try and pronounce it.
Who?
Yasna.
Yeah,
Oh, Yasha. Got it.
but wasn't there like another part to her name too?
Colin's her last name.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Like the inside of your body.
It's not spelled that way. It's Kholin.
Yeah.
All I
It's
hear
because
is the pronunciation. Okay,
the
so
the spelling is what
every
threw
time
me
they
off, and I
say,
was just like,
yeah, every time they say colon, I'm like, your highest place is the colon. Hmm,
Colon health is very
interesting.
important.
Yeah, but I feel like your brain health would be a lot more important.
So as Yasna and the man approach, Shallan can hear them speaking in Alethi, which is close to her native language of Veden. She had been taught Alethi as a child, so she could understand what they were saying. It takes Shallan a moment to realize that the elderly man that Yasna is talking to is likely the king of Kharbranth, Caravangian. Shallan gives them a curtsy as they get closer to her. Yasna finally acknowledges Shallan, waving for her to join Yasna and the king. Shallan apologizes to Yasna for not meeting up with her sooner, but Yasna replies that it isn't Shallan's fault, and she notes Shallan's tenacity. She also mentions that the others had given up after visiting so many places, and Shallan wonders if she passed a test of some sort. However, what really shocks Shallan is that Yasna says she's only allowing Shallan to petition as her ward, and she isn't already accepted as her ward yet. Shallan, however, does
Yeah,
not complain, which Yasna seems impressed by. So yeah, so what do you think
I,
about the fact that
so
Yasna's
funny.
test and the fact that she wasn't accepted yet?
It's so funny. She went across the entire sea
She spent
just to be
6
told,
months
just to
searching
be
for her.
told that you probably won't be able to make it, but we'll let you petition for it.
Yep.
It's just,
I don't like her at all,
I
bro.
mean, I like every answer this woman gives to her until the woman asked for like about history, and she said, "Oh, I don't want to do history," and I was like, "Well, fuck that shit, okay?" Because I also hate history. So
I love history.
if history is what gets me out of being your ward, more power to me. I'd rather repeat it. At
I
least
don't
then
think
I
it's
can
that
learn
Shallan
from it.
dislikes history. Her father didn't have any
She
books
wasn't
on
taught. Yeah,
history. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, this woman's a know-it-all. It's infuriating.
She's a know-it-all perfectionist
Yeah.
and a
And
heretic.
then the other one that pissed me off with this Miss Colon or whatever when she was like, "Oh, well, I don't care about the practical arts." I'm like, "Mm,
I don't care about your art skills.
girl, she's gonna come in here and show you the most beautiful like painting or something, and you're gonna be
Charcoal
like,
drawing,
oh,
yeah.
I've never seen something as good in my life."
It seems like
Ugh.
it.
So, did you have any thoughts there, Darkness?
Well, I just don't like her in general, both of them.
Oh, okay, I can agree with you on that.
But I like that one dude she was talking to.
Capsule?
Which one was Capsule?
Capsule's the Ardent.
Oh yeah, okay. I agree with that. He was pretty cool too.
Yeah, so Yasmin then asks about Shallan's education, starting with music. Which I also find it weird that she's like, I care about music, but I don't care about, like, drawing.
Art, yeah.
Like, I feel like art can be, like, slightly,
Objective.
like,
Mhm.
more scholarly than, like, singing. Because, like, you know how to, like, say, like, draw, like, architecture and, like, plants and stuff, but no, singing's more important.
Some beautiful sound in your ears is more important than your eyes, I guess.
But yeah, so,
I'll leave your ears, Miss Cullen, but I'll take your eyes, thanks.
so
Purple
Shallan,
eyes.
Shalana replies that she has a good ear and is best with her voice, but also has played the zither and the pipes.
Whatever those two are.
She also knows most historical ballads and considers herself not the best, but not the worst. Yasna has Shallan sing a bit of a song called Lilting Adrene before moving on to other languages. She replies
Wait,
that she
I play with pipes too.
knows Alethi, Thalen, and Azish, and can also be understood in Saleh. In regards to writing, she says she knows the major, minor, and topical glyphs, which doesn't impress Yasna much, as she says that even a child could do that. But Shallan does note that she wrote a letter convincing enough for Yasna to request her presence, and Yasna's like, yeah, that's fair.
That was such a good comeback. I was like, "Ooh."
She's like, nope, you're right about that. You were able to write well enough that I was impressed by it.
And then she fucks it all up.
The next
Well, I mean, did she really fuck it all up, or did this woman really just look for anything she could?
I mean, she's apparently rejected 12 other people.
Yeah, and I'm sure they were as nitpicky as this. It's crazy.
So they next move on to logic, to which Shallan replies that she knows basic mathematics and accounting for her father. However,
Yeah, so do kids.
However, she doesn't know any of the authors that Yasna asks if she has read. When Yasna moves on to history, Shallan admits that it's her weakest area, as she never had a proper tutor, and had learned just from reading some texts her father owned. Shallan then mentions the different sciences she has knowledge on, and states that she has the most knowledge on biology and botany. After a brief note from Yasna about expecting a few reasonable things from her wards, Shallan states that Yasna is not being reasonable, and that she's expecting her ward to already be a master scholar.
I just love the way she says it. I really do. I love the way she's just snapped back at her, and she's like, "If you really want that, I can go out here and find some, ridiculously old lady."
Bed.
Yeah, I was like, "Wow."
But yeah, so what did you think of the overall education that Shallan has, considering we know that she's had very few tutors and basically self-taught herself most things?
She's a super smart girl.
Also super annoying.
And then
that's coming from your rich background.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mythic kind of already answered what do you think about Shallan acting out in regards to Yasna's expectations?
Loved it. I wanted to do that myself.
What did you think of that, Darkness? Did you like Shallan's reaction?
I think fuck, this is gonna sound horrible, but I think I like her personality, but I hate her reasonings of existing.
Oh my god. Holy Jesus. I like how she perceives her personality, but I hate the way she exists in the world.
God. Shallan can't control how she was born into this world, Darkness.
I feel like if she had oh my gosh, she would be the perfect likable character in my opinion if she had a mix of phased reasoning and her personality.
A mix of what reasoning?
Phased.
Oh, Seist.
Oh. Oh my god, the submissive guy, yeah.
She's actually the daughter of Seist and Tindwyl.
Oh no!
Oh my god! Well, are we on a completely different planet?
We are. She's not. She's
yeah.
Okay, but Seist could probably travel anyways. So.
Also, didn't Tindwyl die?
Yeah, I meant personality wise.
No. You see, Seist got a little freaky in the cognitive realm.
Oh god.
Oh, you found her again in the cognitive realm?
Oh, geez.
Like she wouldn't have already, passed on.
Well, she was a
years
no, she wasn't.
past.
Was she? I don't remember she was a fair chemist. She was, right?
Yeah, she was, but they don't last a year. It was over a year later.
You never know.
No,
that lady was
Kelsier, it took him
crazy.
less than a day to start fading if he hadn't gotten to the well.
Okay, but Kelsier wasn't a fair chemist.
No, but he's an Allomancer. It's equal in terms of investigator.
Okay, but he was weak.
Damn.
Was not weak.
Mentally.
Do not talk about my god like that.
Mythic's gonna fight you.
Do not talk about my god. I praise him every night.
Oh.
Praise Kelsier every night.
Do you do that by killing nobles?
No.
That's how he wants to be praised.
No, it's not. He's changed in his ways.
Has he?
Yeah. When we get to the next book, you'll understand.
Okay. So Shallan apologizes for acting out, and Yasna asks why her mother thought she was ready for wardship. Shallan replies that her mother died when she was young, but Yasna knows that she has a stepmother. However, she apparently also passed recently. Shallan says she came here on her own, but Yasna still seems unimpressed and says she should be helping out her father instead, and that Shallan is the 12th woman to ask to be her ward this year. What do you think about the fact that Shallan has lost both her mother and her stepmother, and later we find out also her father, all so she's got no parental figures left, and she's now left to find wardship on her own, which
she's old enough.
I would have done the same thing.
And she sailed for 6 months with pirates,
I meant die.
I don't think we actually have her age. I don't remember, but I think she's 16 currently.
Yeah, she's old enough.
She's
She sailed
16?
6 months with pirates.
Yeah, I think she's 16.
She's good.
Ugh,
I mean, and
never mind. She's still a
those
child. I
pirates
can't hate her.
didn't have their way with her. So but yeah, she's old enough.
You said you can't hate her because she's actually a child, Darkness.
Yeah, that sucks.
Darkness not hating children, that's crazy.
I know, right?
You see, I hate children, but like when they have room to grow, that's
Mm.
something else.
They have room to grow. Okay.
As a
She's also
person,
been
yeah,
very sheltered her whole life, seems.
that's her own
Yeah.
choice.
No, that was definitely her father's choice.
Yeah, that's definitely her
She
family.
couldn't run away.
I
I'm
don't
sure
think
she
so.
could. Wouldn't have gone very far, I'm sure.
Okay, but that was still her choice.
I mean, when you're sheltered like that, and I'm sure her father had, connections in some way, shape, or form,
Just kill the
seeing as he got
father.
her tutored. Oh, God, okay.
Don't let
Uh,
anything stop you from, achieving your dreams and adventures, including
But what?
familiar relations.
so they then turn a corner in the long hallway to find an area where the ceiling had fallen in, blocking a doorway with stone. Most of the small rubble had been cleared away already. Shalon can hear noises on the other side, and the king seems to speak to someone in the room. It's mentioned that this happened during the last high storm, and when questioned by Shalon about how the city is generally kept protected from the storms, the king says that the mountainside can sometimes get avalanches due to the high storms. So what do you think about the fact that the high storms are not just trying to throw boulders, but also create full-on giant avalanches down mountains?
That's a lot of
A lot of
storm breath
power.
shit.
That's a lot of power.
Yo, high storms are not something you want to fuck around with.
What if? What if? This is a completely out of the way theory, right?
Okay.
What if like that war thing or whatever they were fighting
Mm.
in the beginning was in the cognitive realm, or like whatever the equal side of that is for this
Mm.
world,
Yeah.
and what they see is, or it could be that they trapped the what is it, Voidbringers? I forgot what they're called.
Yeah, the Voidbringers.
They trap them into the cognitive realm, and what they see is the reaction of like them being in like near their presence.
Oh,
But
so you think
instead
maybe
of like them
the Voidbringers are in there and they're trying to escape or something, and that's causing these giant storms?
in a way, or it could just be their presence there in
Mm.
general causing those storms, but they're not actually there because they can't see them.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good
I don't know.
theory.
I think that idea would be really cool.
Mm-hmm. So Yasna then notes that she'll likely lose one of her focal stones fixing this, but mentions that she isn't trying to renegotiate, just making a comment. She then asks the king and his attendants to stand further down the hallway, although the king states that he wants to wait here with Yasna. The servant gives them wet rags, which the king and his attendants hold up to their mouths. Wet rags are also passed through a small crack around the large rock to the people on the other side. The king notes that his granddaughter is one of the ones trapped, which makes sense to Shalon why he seems so worried. Yasna then asks Shalon how to calculate the weight of the rock, to which Shalon replies that the king's architects have probably already done it, so she would ask them. Yasna compliments her on not rediscovering information and wasting time, which is apparently something Yasna often forgets not to do. Yasna then raises her free hand, which has the soulcaster on it, and Shalon thinks that she has never seen one work before. She had also not known that her father had one until they found the broken one on him. The broken soulcaster was one of the reasons she was here. Yasna's soulcaster has 3 stones, a smokestone, a diamond, and a ruby. So at this point, before we learn more about Shalon's reasoning for being here, what did you think Shalon's goal with this broken soulcaster was?
I thought before this like whole chapter like thing reading we did for
Mhm.
this part, I thought a soulcaster was a person.
Yeah,
I do
no,
too,
so
honestly.
a soulcaster is actually, what they call a fabrial, which is basically like a little gemstone-powered machine.
I wonder. We don't have the origins for it yet, huh?
No.
It will be discussed though, right?
There's a lot that gets discussed, but also the series is not complete, so.
Oh my!
Like,
Um,
why do we keep reading the books that have no complete series? Like we're just gonna be left on cliffhangers, and
It's either one shots or it's
it
like
would be another fucking
open ending. Like,
yeah, yeah, they're one of the
uh,
Warbreakers.
but yeah,
I'm
I
betting
mean, we
midnight
do get
from
it mentioned
midnight.
later that apparently, these ancient people called the Dawn Singers also had soulcasters, so they've been around for, a very long time, this technology.
Yeah, it was given to them by aliens, I'm sure.
That's what I was thinking.
I think they
Yeah,
say it technically was
just like
given
our
to them by the
pyramids.
Almighty, is what they say.
Yeah, aliens, just like our pyramids.
I'd say it's like more like the Sky people from the whatever place.
The whatever
What?
place.
The one book we read with not the book, the story. The one with the fucking birds.
Oh, the ones above
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
from Six of the Dusk.
Trying to put the 2 and 2 together somehow to make it make sense. To be
Well,
honest.
he's saying it's like more advanced people came down and gave this.
Okay. Yeah, aliens. Got it. Okay.
So Shalon blinks to take a memory of Yasna holding her hand up to the rock before Yasna turns the rock to smoke, creating a blast as the smoke rushes out due to the pressure. Shalon closes her eyes and covers her mouth with the wet rag until the smoke has mostly dissipated. She thinks that 9 of 10 soulcasters could only do limited transformations such as making water or grain out of stone, or making simple stone buildings out of air or cloth. However, more powerful soulcasters could do almost any transformation, and she thinks that the Ardents must be upset to have someone outside the Ardentia, especially a heretic, own one so powerful.
Okay, so first off, it only says she puts it to her mouth.
Mhm.
That is the worst idea to do ever. You should be doing it mouth and nose.
Right? Yeah.
Okay, so if you're only doing your mouth, you're really not solving any problems that you're having. So I don't understand how it's helping you in any way.
Honestly, I feel like
Honestly,
nose
it's
is more
suffocating you.
important. Because, like, you can close your mouth. You can't really close your nose.
But I mean, and then the other thing is that the only reason that they would have to do that for that, like for a wet handkerchief, would be to reduce like effectiveness of filtering like vapors,
Mm-hmm.
not like it's weird. Like so,
I mean, I don't. They're not super advanced. They're doing what they can.
They seem more advanced than this.
As a professional mouth and nose cover.
Oh, I bet you are.
As someone who's gone through a pandemic, they need an N95.
I was thinking more of like a kidnapping, but okay.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
But anyways, what do you think about
You only use
soulcasters?
duct tape, darkness. So.
What do you think about soulcasters and their abilities, like the lesser abilities that Shalon mentioned, and also like Yasna's soulcaster being able to turn like stone to smoke?
That's kind of cool. I mean,
Useless.
it's not, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, imagine that in battle.
Yeah.
They're catapulting like boulders at you to crush your troops, and you just turn all the boulders to smoke.
What if you could What if you could turn it the other way around? No.
Turn smoke into a boulder. It's potential.
Yeah. Yeah, like
imagine
you do a lot of
a bunch of torches.
Or so like let's say right, you shoot gas into the sky,
Mhm.
and as it's coming down, the person changes it into like basically just stones, and then it's hailing on whoever the
like launching a fucking fireball.
I mean, they do say that you can turn air into stone.
Yeah, so I mean that'd be a pretty devastating attack, to be honest.
Wait, air?
Yeah, it says
Air.
they can turn cloth and air into stone buildings. So I just imagine making like turning like the air around someone's head into like a block of stone. Just like kill them.
They just fucking fall over.
I mean, yep.
Well, how?
I mean, if you can turn air into stone, you can turn air into stone inside somebody's body.
That's what I was thinking. I was
Well,
gonna say,
you have to be
how,
touching. I don't know how it would work with touching air, because you have to like somehow be touching the thing in order to.
So shove your fingers down their mouth.
Yeah, you just put their fingers in their mouth and boom.
Yeah.
I mean, does it say what has to be touching it?
I think the hand
He's
that has the soulcaster attached to it needs to be touching.
Okay, so it still does have to be okay. I was thinking of
because like she touches the boulder that's
other
blocking the
places you
doorway.
could put a soulcaster.
And we get a picture of what that looks like.
The
What, a
soulcaster?
soulcaster?
Yeah.
Yep, I can get a picture of a soulcaster for you. I
'Cause I
did
wanna
not
see how
get
big
pictures
that
because you
is.
said no pictures early last time.
Yeah, and I said give me all the pictures. So where's my where did I get? Like I just get messed.
Right?
I
You
get messed up for that.
can't
My
just
God.
listen to one
Here's
side of
a
the.
picture
wow.
of someone recreating a soulcaster.
Recreating a soulcaster.
They made one like in real life.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah, you
Okay.
can definitely shove fingers down someone's mouth.
So I think that's supposed to look like Yasna's because it has the smoke stone, the diamond, and the ruby.
What part's the soulcaster part?
The whole thing. Because they
no
glow.
fucking way it looks like that.
Yeah.
You know what I was thinking of? I was thinking of like a gauntlet.
No, it says it's just like a bracelet and like kind of like rings, and then like it's connected with like in like a metal triangle.
That's like
'cause
something.
it's the I believe it's like the stormlight and the gems that's technically what's doing most of the work.
Can you only have 3?
She only had 3, yeah, stones.
But
I said,
can you have more?
We don't know yet.
That's a yes.
I wonder if you, yeah, right. Could you fill that thing up with just gems?
Yeah, that's what
I wonder if,
Yasna's like. And also
the size
what
wouldn't
Shalon's
matter,
looks
huh?
like. They
The
do
size of the
mention that
gemstones.
like bigger stones and like specifically cut stones can hold more stormlight, so I'm assuming you'd want more stormlight.
So yeah, the size matters, darkness. Unfortunate for you.
Can you have more than one?
More than one soulcaster? Probably.
Yeah.
You would
Bro,
just
I would have a whole fucking like armor set.
you probably just have to like switch them out onto your hand. I don't know if they have to be attached to your hand specifically. This is all we know so far in this book.
I would make an armor set just to try it out. If I can kick someone and turn their shit into like blocks of fucking cement, you know.
Put you, like, just touch, like, you know, with your foot, you just like stomp on their foot, and like a block of stone is wrapped around their foot. Yeah.
Right. That'd be so cool. Imagine just going into like a fucking army rushing in there and just punching people and like into. You would be like,
Stone.
yeah, you would be like a battle Medusa.
So the king then rushes into the now unblocked room to embrace his granddaughter, who is with several nurses and servants.
Huh?
You guys didn't hear that, right?
The car driving by? Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard it.
Ah, fuck.
Shallan notes that the girl is young enough to not need a modesty sleeve. Yasna then notes that Shallan is still here, and Shallan tries to get her to see her portfolio, as she is most accomplished at drawing. Yasna says she doesn't see any use in the arts. Yasna then says she cannot accept Shallan as her ward. So what do you think of Yasna rejecting Shallan?
She rejected her first. Didn't she reject her? And then she was like, "But I haven't showed you everything." And then she was like, "What do you mean you haven't showed me everything?" And then she's like, "Why? How are the practical arts?"
Well, no, she's doing the test, and then she does like her soulcaster stuff, and then Shallan's like, "Hey, there's more tests still," and she's like, "Is there more tests?" She doesn't outright reject her just yet, but she kind of like stops the testing.
Right, I remember that part. That's where I was like, "Fuck you too."
So Yasna then tells the king that she's going to the Palaneum, which the king tries to protest as they were going to have a feast. However, Yasna says she doesn't have the time, and the king offers to lead her to the Palaneum himself. Shallan watches Yasna go, feeling frustrated but also determined. She hadn't come here to apprentice under Yasna, but to execute a plan that she had suggested to her brothers. She would learn where Yasna kept her soulcaster, and then she would steal it. So what did you think of Shallan's true reason for coming here?
I admire the reason. That's like one thing that actually made me feel like, oh, you know, she's worth something.
Why? Because she's subterfuging?
Yeah.
What did you think, Mythic? The fact that she's not actually here to be her ward, but to steal her soulcaster.
Like drama.
I figured something, was afoot, to be honest. But you don't spend 6 months across sea,
Well, it's more like
on a whim. Yeah, I mean, it'd probably be pretty easy. Just cut off her hand, you know.
Oh gosh.
You know, at that point, you're right.
Just chop her hand off. Then get the whole soul catcher right there.
I don't like her. You know, she doesn't like her. She rejected. You know, that is all.
I mean, she's got a whole dream catcher on her hand. You know.
So then we move to chapter 6, called Bridge 4. I should get this image for Mythics. There's an image here.
Wait, do we know if like that thing is made out of like just regular metal
Like an
stuff, or
image?
what is it?
There's a picture of the Ceres' war camp drawn onto the back of a chull shell.
Huh? The
what
back of a
shell?
what now? Yeah.
Chull
What?
shell. One of the crabs. A chull shell.
Oh,
Okay.
This is
Is this those big ass crab things that we were talking about before?
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
It's just That's my same thought process.
That's a lot of drawing.
Well,
Oh, but it's on a shell.
Yeah, it's on
But
like
the
a piece
shell.
of
What? I thought the crabs were like massive.
Oh no, sorry, it's on the back of a palm-sized Kremling shell. Sorry, not a chull shell.
Oh, okay.
I
I'm
apologize.
like,
I'm reading
I thought those shells were massive.
I thought it
Right,
was a
me
chull
too.
shell, but they are. Yeah, sorry. It's a Kremling shell, not a chull shell.
Gotcha.
And it says that it's circa 1173, which probably means that's what time period we're in currently, which means all of these like epigraphs we've been getting are from like a year or two ago. And then we also get an epigraph that says, "I'm cold, mother, I'm cold. Mother, why can I still hear the rain? Will it stop?" Collected on Vevises 1172, 32 seconds pre-death. Subject was a light-eyed female child, approximately 6 years old. So, do you think this is random ramblings, or do you think this is important like the other epigraphs?
Mother.
I think it's important,
Why would it be there if it's not important?
right? Why would
Question.
Why would Brandon write it if it wasn't important?
It just seems like a strange,
Everything is important in some way, shape, or form.
Everything seems strange in this book. I don't even know.
True.
so
After all, why would people wear dream catchers on their hands? You know?
because they're
Dream
magical and cool, do cool stuff. I can speak.
I mean, all they do is catch dreams.
And they turn stone into smoke.
No,
No,
that
no.
was the soul catchers. I was saying dream catchers.
Oh, okay. They don't wear dream catchers on their hands though.
But they do. Because I said it and you didn't deny it.
That's
I thought you were
true.
just giving things weird names like you usually do.
That's me, actually.
You both
Yeah,
do it.
yeah, man.
Both do it.
Damn. We're getting as confused now?
No, you guys both do
Jeez.
it. So we go back to Kaladin's point of view as Tvlakov lets the slaves out of the cage wagons as he doesn't fear them running
Yeah.
off currently. Kaladin notes that the
Let's
war
go
camp
kill it in.
Kaladin notes that the war camp is well established as they've been fighting for almost 6 years now. Kaladin is slightly put off by the soldiers he sees passing as they don't seem as disciplined as he expected. As they stand in line, Tvlakov speaks to an important-looking light-eyed woman who reminds Kaladin of Laurel, and he notes the woman to likely be an officer's wife of the fourth or fifth dawn. The woman inspects the slaves, seeming unimpressed with them, and negotiating the price down from 2 emerald broams to 1.25. However, when she gets to Kaladin, she seems impressed and asks him to take his shirt off, which Kaladin does as he resists spitting at her so that she can see his muscles. She knows that Kaladin was
I
in the
hate that. I wish he would have just spit on her.
Oh,
She probably would have respected him a lot more.
I don't think she would have. I think she would have executed him.
I mean, hey, then at least he gets that part of his wish.
in a good way. Oh,
um,
I
she
mean,
knows
he was pretty down when he didn't actually get killed. So
that was Seth, not Kaladin.
no, I was talking about later when he
Oh.
was in the ditch or whatever, and then it's like, why am I not dead?
So she knows that Kaladin was in the military previously. Kaladin lies and says that he got drunk and killed somebody, and that's why he's a slave, which is obviously a lie. However, Tvlakov says that Kaladin is a
Is it
deserter,
though?
which makes him angry as he thinks he'll never be let back into the military if the woman thinks he's a deserter. What do you think of Kaladin's hopes of getting back into the army?
Didn't the dude say he was gonna? Oh no,
that's what I was confused about.
Yeah, like I thought he said he wasn't gonna tell them that because then it
Well,
wouldn't have done.
To be fair, I'm
But then
pretty,
again, I think he said something like he wouldn't tell what the actual reason
Yeah, he said he's not going to
was
tell people what the.
marked or whatever. Yeah,
yeah. Uh-huh.
but I know originally when he went and he just told her that he's a deserter, I was like, wait, what? I thought you said you weren't gonna say that
Me too.
because it wouldn't let him get sold. You know.
Yeah, no, because he says afterwards, like, he's like, I had to do this because if they found out I was like a liar, they would come after me.
I mean, that's only if they found out. I mean, they wait. What? They're gonna find out you're a liar anyways. You're lying about the actual reason.
Well, apparently it's
He's not a
supposed to be a
liar.
secret, so because like Kaladin was surprised that he knew about it.
I mean, the voice that they do for that one dude is just so good for an evil person. So
For Tvlakov.
yeah, the way that the narrator was like speaking for him, I was like,
No, wait.
yeah, this dude's evil as fuck.
So Kaladin regrets ripping up the map as Tvlakov goes on to say that he wouldn't trust Kaladin with a spear and that he has tried to escape multiple times. The woman says she will still take the man due to Tvlakov's honesty and says they need some more bridgemen. Before Tvlakov moves away, he quietly apologizes to Kaladin and says that it will go back against him if Kaladin tries to escape and he hadn't mentioned his previous attempts. So the woman makes some notes on the slaves before pointing out 10, including Kaladin, to be taken to the bridge cruise. She also mentions to tell Lamaril and Gaz that Kaladin is to be given special treatment, which causes the soldiers to laugh. As they move into the war camp, Kaladin notes that he's going to High Prince Sadius's area. Sadius had been in charge of the region where Kaladin grew up, which he finds ironic that he would end up in his war camp after so long. Kaladin is surprised to see Parshmen, since the Alethi were basically fighting Parshmen, but it doesn't seem like they were worried about them rising up due to the fighting. What do you think about the Parshmen seeming to not care that they're working for people who are fighting the Parshendi, who apparently are very similar to them, if not the, they seem to have some differences based on what we've read, but they call them, like, the cousins of the Parshmen, the Parshendi.
Well, to be fair, I doubt, it's like you don't go fight your cousin's fight, Unless you're like,
Sometimes you do.
yeah, I was gonna say unless you're like close, but like I don't feel like
I mean,
the
even when
people
you're not close,
moving-
sometimes you go fight. Your
no,
quote
you gotta fight your own
unquote
battles.
cousins. Okay, well, man, you live in America just like I do. We put our noses in everybody's business. So
Parshmen obviously aren't Americans.
I mean, but they treat each other like they are.
No, what I'm saying is like they don't get into other people's business, so they're
Oh,
not
well,
like the
man,
Americans. They're like, nah,
I feel
we're
like
gonna
they
mind
do, they
ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. The other Canadian got it.
Mhm.
Canada's gotten involved in
Yeah,
stuff.
Canada's never got involved. They're
They
too
definitely have.
they're too neutral. They're like Sweden.
You mean Switzerland?
That's it. Yep.
I was like, wait.
I'm like, it's not Sweden. That's the wrong country.
Whatever. Yeah, they're Swiss. Yep, that's it.
Okay. But yeah, so they make their way around the camp until they get near some carpenters. However, the soldiers laugh when Kaladin asks if they will be woodworkers. Instead, they point to some depressed-looking men eating slop with their fingers out of bowls. One of the soldiers then calls out to a man named Gaz, who has a scarred face, which makes his beard grow patchy, and he is missing one of his eyes. The soldiers leave the group with Gaz, mentioning that Brightness Hashal wants something special done with Kaladin. Once the soldiers are gone, Kaladin tries to mention he is training as a soldier, but Gaz doesn't seem to care. Which sucks. Tried twice. Luck did not work out for him both times.
When he said that, I was like, "You really think they actually would care?" Like,
The windspread that had been following Kaladin around flies above Gaz's head and closes one of her eyes to imitate Gaz, which causes Kaladin to smile. However, his smile just angers Gaz. Some horns blow and the bridgemen get to go somewhere. Gaz tells Kaladin he's with Bridge 4. The other 9 slaves are told to wait here to be divided up later. Kaladin rushes off to the bridge crew that Gaz had pointed out. The bridge crews go into the carpentry yard, and Kaladin notices that there are 30-foot-long bridges, one of each, for the around 50 bridge crews. So what do you think the job of the bridgemen was at this point, before you knew their actual job?
Well, see, I thought they were building bridges. I just thought they were.
I thought it was like a guard thing.
I just thought they were building bridges, which is exactly what they did. So
they're definitely building bridges.
yeah, with their dead bodies. Yep.
So Gaz gets a wooden shield and a mace before asking Bridge 4 where their bridge leader is, to which one of the men say that he tossed himself into the honor chasm last night. Which, what do you think about that?
I
was
it.
Like,
honorable. Very
mood.
Honorable. Like, I don't want to deal with this somewhere. Goodbye.
That's a mood.
Mood. He's like, yeah, fuck this shit, I'm out. Throw myself off the honor chasm. Chasm.
I love it. I love it. I love that.
There's so many chasms. There's so many chasms in this story.
Oh, I bet you're gonna have to make sure you don't say it wrong every time now.
Gaz says he'll keep close to them and assign them a new bridge leader after they see who survives. He then tells Kaladin to go to the back of the bridge, and Kaladin knows that the bridge can hold about 40 men with 8 rows of 5. Kaladin's under the bridge, so he can't see much, although he does know that the other bridgemen have vests with cushioning on their shoulders to help with the wooden bridge digging into their skin. Kaladin was not given a vest, though. As they begin to run, the wood digs into his shoulders, causing them to bleed. He also wasn't given shoes, so his feet get cut up as well. Kaladin can hear the army marching behind them as they run across stone and across some permanent wooden bridges. He notes that the ground is uneven, which is likely why they run bridges with men instead of putting them on wheels. After over an hour of running, they put their bridges down over a chasm, and the army begins to cross. Kaladin doesn't allow himself to lay down for long, as he knows his muscles will cramp up, so instead he sits up and begins massaging his muscles and making padding for his feet and shoulders out of the clothing he does have. So what do you think about this way of getting the army across the different plateaus with these like carried bridges?
It's literally how it's been done before.
I would have stayed home.
Like, yeah, okay. I would, we'll find out later, but I would have stayed there the moment after. I would have been like, no, I'm just gonna lay here.
Right.
Let them go. I'll lay here. They'll pass, and then I'll figure out what I do from here.
You probably starve to death on the random stone plateau.
Nah, I mean, I'm okay with that. Better than what I have to go through coming back.
They just, we could do it right before the battle, so then we just eat the corpses after.
Lovely.
Actually, not wrong. I'm not starving or drowning, or not drowning. Sorry, I'm not starving or dehydrated. I mean, I might be drowning in
misery
bodies,
and sorrow, and
that too, and depression. Yeah, but I mean, he's already drowning in depression, so.
So a man laying next to Kaladin notes that Gaz is probably wondering why Kaladin isn't laying on the ground like the others. Kaladin then sees a man in red shard plate go across the bridge with other light eyes, wonders if it's the king. However, the man says he wishes, and that being in Dalinar Kholon's army would mean that they wouldn't be working on the bridge crews. The man also compliments Dalinar, calling him a man who has never broken his word. Kaladin sniffs at that. So, do you think Dalinar Kholon will be an honorable man, or do you think Kaladin is right to not expect much from him? So this is the guy who got drunk the night his brother died. So this is complimenting.
He's not gonna be honorable. What are you talking about? He didn't care. He was drunk.
I mean, that's not even I think that's. Would that be one of the best ways to get bad news?
But while you're drunk?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, yeah.
You're already fucked up. Might as well get more fucked up.
Oh my god. I feel like the worst time would be afterwards when when you got a hangover.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
that's
And
why you drink
then
more.
all right, time for my breakfast whiskey.
Gaz then has them get up and cross the bridge before picking it back up and going on to the next chasm. They do this over a dozen times. Gaz kicks and shouts at the bridgemen as they go, and Kaladin quickly develops a hatred for the man. However, after one of the times they put down a bridge, Gaz calls out a command of switch, which he hadn't said before. Kaladin also notices that anticipation spren are coming out of the ground like red streamers, meaning the battle might be close. The switch command meant that the men running in the back now move to the front, and the men from the front move to the back. This gives Kaladin a look out as they're running this time since he's in the front row. Kaladin is happy to be in the front row, and wonders why it's given to newcomers. However, the man who had been next to him the whole time swears by Telenalat Alin, bearer of agonies, and says that this is going to be a bad one. Kaladin glances out and sees Parshendi in orange armor readying their bows, and Kaladin realizes that the real nightmare is just beginning. The men run screaming toward the chasm, and the archers shoot at them. The man Kaladin has been speaking to dies, and the man who is left gets shot and falls, causing the rest of the bridge crew to trample him. The bridge
I
gets
feel like
heavier.
there was a lot more of a description there, but okay.
There wasn't much more. They give a bit more description.
I saw an arrow in his neck and blah blah blah.
Yeah, they explain that when he goes and sees the guy afterwards. When he's like taking the clothing off his body.
Oh.
When he's stripping down the corpse.
Oh.
I mean, it's not like they need that anyways, so.
The bridge gets heavier as the other two men in Kaladin's row are also killed. So what do you think about the bridgeman getting targeted by the Parshendi as they approach the battle?
I mean, it's a smart move.
Right.
Yeah. If they can't get across the bridges, they can't fight them.
Exactly.
Any other thoughts, Darkness?
I don't know what I would do with there, honestly. I feel like he was just lucky because there's no other way. There was like multiple bridges happening at the same time, right?
Yeah, they're like targeting multiple bridges at once. They're like switching around to different bridges. So two of the other bridge crews fall completely. Kaladin even takes a cut to the cheek as one arrow slices past him. They get to the chasm, and Gaz shouts for them.
Alright, there, I'd be like, oh, no, I'm down.
Wait, I've been shot!
Yeah, then you get trampled because you're in the front by all the other guys behind you.
No, but like, I've been shot way in the back.
But yeah, so they get to the chasm, and Gaz shouts for them to put the bridge in place, which puts the bridgemen in the back in harm's way. The Parshendi shoot down over half a dozen men as the bridge is placed on the ground. Fiercemen pop up around the bridge as Kaladin almost falls into the chasm while pushing the bridge into place, which is a lot harder than before now that they have less men. Foot soldiers come and help push the bridge into place, and Kaladin notes that 4 of the 20 bridges that went out on this run had fallen. Kaladin falls to the ground, exhausted. He thinks that he should try to find the man who had been speaking to him previously to see if he was still alive and bind his wounds. However, he couldn't move and ended up passing out. Some time passes, and he hears a feminine voice telling him to wake up or he'll be left behind. Something slaps at his face, and he swats at it and slowly sits up. So what do you think about Syl waking Kaladin up so he isn't left behind on the plateau?
I was more impressed that she could fucking slap him.
Yeah, apparently some spren like can give you like little pinches of pain and stuff.
But
No,
that's
she's
not a
straight
pinch
up
of pain.
slap
That's
him.
like, bam.
Well, he says a little slap. I think it's like a little like tiny slap.
No, it's a whole like.
She's got a
Move your
human-sized
whole head.
hand suddenly.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just imagining the voice actually being like really tiny and pixie-like, you know,
Yeah, like I was like
and
Like
being
Tinkerbell.
and being berated. Yeah, being berated by Tinkerbell is just
A lot of people like relate her
Hilarious.
to Tinkerbell.
well, it's just hilarious to me.
I was thinking more like the one from Black Clover, but
I don't think I've seen Black Clover.
Oh, yeah.
Sylph or whatever her name is?
Yeah, Yuno's little pixie.
yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's the Win one, which is crazy
Yeah.
because this is like where it's all coming into my head for yeah. We should show Midnight.
I'm about to.
As she
It's
looked at
us giving you pictures now.
it. So Kaladin glances around and sees some men checking to see if any of the men on the ground are alive. And if they aren't, they take their vests and sandals. They wouldn't have checked Kaladin since he didn't have... Nice. But yeah, just imagine her like all in blue and white though.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's
Yeah.
the image we're getting, I'm sure.
Yeah, so they wouldn't have checked Kaladin since he didn't have anything, and thus if he hadn't woken up, he would have been left stranded on the plateau. He asks the Windspread if she has a name, and she's surprised to say that she does, asking him why she does, but of course Kaladin doesn't know. Kaladin limps across the plateau and finds the corpse of the man he had spoken to earlier. The man had an arrow through his neck, so he was definitely dead. He takes the man's clothing, even though it feels wrong, because he doesn't think that Gaz will give him anything. He puts on the vest and sandals, and then uses the shirt of the man to wrap his wounds. He can see that the cavalry is getting ready to head back. The Brinsbren tells Kaladin that her name is Sylfrena, and that she has a nickname, Syl. What do you think of Kaladin having to take the clothing off this dead guy just to have shoes and a padded vest?
Honestly, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Honestly, the only thing I was concerned about was Syl. The name Syl. Like, what?
Her name is, so it's S-Y-L.
She has a name?
Yeah, apparently she has a name. She's shocked she has a name. She's like, what the fuck? Why do I have a name?
Oh, that's what I was
Yeah,
shocked about. I
it's
I
not
didn't give a shit
spelled
about the
like
guy taking clothes off of dead bodies.
it's not spelled how we want it to be spelled, though, Mythic.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like, pretty sure we want it to be like SYLPH, but
Sylph?
Yeah, Sylph.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
you could also
that's
give her that
exactly-
name. Her name is Sylphrena with a PH.
No, it's not.
Yeah, she said her full name is Sylphrena.
Really?
Yes.
I thought it was with an F. Hold on.
No, it's SYLPHRENA.
Yeah. Hey, Darkness.
Yes.
Darkness. That's the exact same name. Just saying. That is her name in Black Clover as well.
Really?
Sylphrena, yeah. Yep.
This is not good.
She goes by Sylph because it's easier for Yuno to remember.
No fucking way.
That's her actual little goddess name, yeah.
Was Sylph from Black Clover inspired by Sylphrena?
Probably not.
Oh no, it says they're likely both drawn from the same inspiration. Sylphs have been spirits of air for a couple of centuries, so that's why for the name probably.
Yeah, but I mean, like her goddess name or whatever it is when she goes into the big form is Sylphrena. So I don't know if it's actually spelled the same way though.
It probably is similar considering the Sylph thing that people were talking about is spelled SYLPH.
Maybe.
But yeah, my second question there was, what are your thoughts on Syl, and why do you think she has a name?
She's special.
All I can think about right now is Black Clover.
Yeah, I know.
Do you think all Windspren have names, or do you think it's just
No.
I mean,
Well,
I think it's all of one. I think they're all literally all one, just spread into multiple.
I think it's like a hive mind thing.
I feel like
they are all Sylphrena.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more like each individual category of
Spren.
Yeah, have their one.
So you think there's like one like named smart one from each type of Spren?
Yeah.
Well, I mean that is the thing in Black Clover, so where they're all one specific thing, and then if I remember correctly, Yuno doesn't call her Sylph, he calls her Belle after like Tinkerbell. But they're all named Sylph, like all of them. So because they're all of one larger wind spirit.
It would make sense if with that theory. It would make sense why she wouldn't know that she has a name exactly, considering that it could be a different Sylph that's feeding her the information of like, yeah, your name is Sylph. So
yeah, man.
Do you think we'll meet any other different types of Spren then that are similar to Syl, where they have like names and they talk and stuff?
Possibly. I mean, different types of elemental things. Yeah.
I
think all wind is gonna be Sylph.
I want a fierce Spren.
Oh yeah.
Fierce Spren pet.
Yeah, what is that element?
I don't know. They're fierce Spren. They're Spren of fear.
Yeah, but what's the element though?
There's no element. They aren't all elements.
They have to be all elements.
No, they're elements and emotions and all sorts of things.
Elements. They all have to be elements.
I want a Wi-Fi one.
Oh, Wi-Fi Spren.
Have Wi-Fi anywhere you go.
Right.
So anyways, Gazlan comes over and tells Kaladin to go back to the bridge where the other half of his bridge crew is left standing. You can tell Gaz is angry and thinks that the man had wanted him to die with the rest of the front row. But Kaladin has survived somehow. One of the other bridgemen tells Kaladin that they let them go slower on the way back, and they'll have foot soldiers helping them since they need at least 25 men to lift the bridge. As they lift the bridge, Kaladin thinks that he hadn't thought the world had anything worse left for him, but it appears his final torment was Bridge 4. And then we move on to our second and final Shallan chapter, which is chapter 7, Anything Reasonable. And the epigraph is, they are a flame, they burn. They bring the darkness when they come. And so all you can see, that is their skin is a flame. Burn, burn, burn. Collected on Pala Hasiv 1172, 21 seconds pre-death. Subject with a baker's apprentice. So who or what do you think this baker is speaking about?
Probably what they're baking.
His bread rolls are burning.
My bread rolls, they're dead.
Just like me.
And then it's like darkness because they're black because of the burn.
He's like reaching into the oven trying to save the burnt buns, and he actually dies because he falls into the oven.
And it burns.
And the fear sprites get him, yeah.
Fear Spren, yeah. Shallan hurries down the hallway as she sees Parshman coming with rags and buckets to clean the smoke stains off the walls and floor. She thinks that she used to love the intricate patterns of the Parshman until her father stopped allowing her to spend time around them. However, Shallan turns her mind to thinking of ways to get Yasna to reconsider taking her as her ward. She thinks about how her father had been creating marble deposits with his soulcaster that they had not known about, which had broken on the night her father had died, and she now carried the broken fabrial in her safe pouch. However, she tells herself not to think of the night her father died. So what do you think about Shallan's father's use of this soulcaster and his death?
Her father, oh man, we love having great fathers.
I know, right? Great
We always have
dad.
good fathers in every book. Every book has the best of fathers. All the moms are alive, and all the fathers are great. You know.
Don't go near the
These
parchment.
books,
Don't go near the dark eyes. How dare
these
you,
books,
Shallan?
these books, all of these make me feel better about having no father.
Oh, damn. So yeah, so Shallan and her brothers had taken the soulcaster to a jeweler to be fixed, but although the device was repaired, it no longer worked. Her father had large debts that they had maybe a year before the outstanding payments became too much and her father's absence was noticed. Her brothers were scrambling to get letters written and make appearances, and stating that their father was planning something big. If Shallan could steal Yasna's soulcaster and place it with the broken one, they could create new quarries to restore their wealth, feed their soldiers, and pay off their debts. Once in a better position, they could announce their father's death without destroying their house. She thinks it'll be hard to get away without it being obvious that she was behind the soulcaster not working, but Yasna has many enemies that she could try to pin the blame on. So what do you think about Shallan's father's debts and the position Shallan's family is in now?
That's too bad, isn't it? That's
Mm.
crazy.
It's
I
all
don't think she
Shallan's fault.
deserves that. Oh wait, she's a child. Never mind.
It's all Shallan's fault. Yep,
Damn.
100%.
What do you mean? That's just a product of her
Father's not to blame.
upbringing.
Yeah, father's not to blame whatsoever. Her
Uh,
upbringing create this issue.
oh yeah. Shallan makes a sign that she is in need of assistance, and a woman comes over and greets her as Brightness. Shallan states that she wishes to go to the
Brightness.
Palaneum, and the woman leads Shallan further into the building until they reach large metal doors. Shallan dismisses the woman and glances at the designs on the doors, which seem to be some kind of chart, but has no time to examine the details. Once through the doors, Shallan is awed by the large room with many small private balconies. A young male servant comes over to her, asking what she needs. He explains that the room is called the Vale and is the place before the Palaneum, where all the books are held. He mentions that this place was here before the city and was likely created by the Dawn Singers using soul casting. So what do you think about the Vale and the Palaneum and how it was created by using soul casters by ancient people called the Dawn Singers?
Obviously, they're made up.
You think the Dawn Singers are made up? They're not real?
No,
They don't exist.
of course they're not made up. I was one of them.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually in my head canon. Darkness. You and Brightness were together.
Brightness
There's
Shallan.
like many brightness, aren't there?
Yeah, Brightness is the title. Like lady.
Yep. You and Brightness were
Also,
together.
those are like all my wives.
Yep.
What?
Polyamory. He's got that polyamory going. Yeah, for sure.
So before Shallan is allowed into the Palaneum, she is told that she needs to pay an admittance fee of 1,000 sapphire bromes.
That's not bad.
Damn.
Because it helps pay for the hospitals in the city, as it's their most valuable resource is information. Shallan is told that there are over 700,000 books in the Palaneum, and Shallan thinks that her father owned only 87 books, which she had read multiple times each. She wants to go look through all the information, but she instead asks where she can wait for someone who is inside. Shallan is told she can sit in one of the reading alcoves and that there is no fee for that. Shallan then asks the servant if Yasna has an alcove already, and the servant says he will go check. As she waits, she wishes she could sneak into the Palaneum, but knows that there are likely guards, and if she bursts in, Yasna will not reconsider accepting her as her ward. She feels like she did as a child, locked away like a piece of crystalware. She then thinks back to her father's death, of her brother Nambalat bruised, of herself holding a silvery sword that could cut through stone like it was water. However, she forces those memories away and begins to take out some
I
of her
wonder
drug
what that
materials.
sword is.
Yeah, so what do you think about Shallan's brief memory of herself and her brother on the night her father died?
The sword that
A sword that cuts.
well, through stone and
As
like
if it's
butter.
water.
Oh, was it? Okay, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same idea. Same idea.
Yeah.
Different thing. Same easiness.
Yeah, easily cuts
And
through
butter.
stone.
Yeah. hmm
Yeah.
But
Any thoughts about
I
that little memory
mean,
she pushes away?
almost
Um,
seems as if it has something to do real close with the prologue.
it is the prologue, right?
No, she was not there.
No, I mean like it is the prologue that you're talking about. Not like I don't know. This book has like 2 different parts in the beginning.
I believe he's talking about when Zeth kills King Gavilar. He's referring
Right.
to.
That's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah. That's what the sword reminded me of.
Yeah, but don't they have like many of those?
Shard blades.
Yeah.
That's what it was called. I couldn't think of the name of it.
Yes. So you think she has a shard blade?
Sharp blades.
She's got a sharp blade somewhere, that's for sure. I mean,
Uh,
she's got a sharp tongue and a sharp blade.
If she does have a shard blade, do you think she still has it?
Somewhere.
it's inside of her.
I'm gonna take your shit one way or another. Yeah, I mean, because can't you just tell? Can't they just like appear?
Yeah, so they
Oh, I
basically
forgot.
are,
Yeah.
they
what's
basically
it?
like they form. It takes 10 heartbeats and they form a mist in your hand.
Oh,
10 heartbeats.
wait,
Yeah.
what happens if you could like make your heart go faster?
That's
it's
what
10
I was
heartbeats.
thinking.
Just
Uh,
like if I can make my heart hit 10 beats in like a second.
Yeah, 10 heartbeats.
Shit.
Wait, what happens when they die again to the stuff?
So Gavilar, when he died, his shard blade just appeared next to him.
Okay. So
Which I
what?
find
It can
weird.
get
Which I
bound by
find weird that
anyone
he didn't
then?
pick it up.
Sorry, what'd you say, Darkness?
It can get bound from it for anyone, like to anyone, or is
It
it like?
sounds like it.
They pick it up and it just gets bound to him, you know? I mean, could you have Well, I guess he can't have multiple. Didn't he say the other one, like he was like, this one works for me or something?
Well, no,
Well,
he didn't
it's
want it because he calls his cursed. He's like, one cursed blade is enough or something like that.
Oh, okay. But
yeah.
He
it
just didn't
didn't
want
say
it.
that he couldn't have it.
Yeah, it did not say he
Mhm.
couldn't have it. He's like, it's worth fortunes, but I really don't want it.
I'm kind of wondering what would happen if you had like a bunch of them. If you could summon different ones, be like, in 10 heartbeats, this one
Well,
pops up. Drop it.
I
10
wonder if
heartbeats.
it's like all swords that are 10 heartbeats, or if it's just his that was 10 heartbeats. Because
Mm,
the other one was like what, like a fucking huge sword? No, it was like a great sword or something.
But
yeah.
I think it was his was also a shard blade. The king's. There's just
No,
different
yeah, but like,
types.
do they come in different forms? I think it was
They
no.
seem
That
to,
one was like
they do
that
look
one's a huge
different.
one.
We've
That one
seen
was
I
a huge
think
one.
2
Yeah.
or 3. I think we've seen like 2 of them because we also saw. But yeah, they look different.
Yeah, but that one was like
Oh, we
huge,
also
right?
in the prelude,
Yes.
all the heralds had them and they had them form.
I think I'm going crazy.
They
Yes.
all look
Yes.
different.
Darkness. My sword is huge.
So like, would that one take longer to take out?
I can show you an image of the.
Would
No,
my sword
they're all 10
take longer to
heartbeats.
get out? Yes.
I can show you what the.
My sword takes up like ages to get out. Darkness.
It's because you're old.
Yeah, that's true too. I'm already past 30s. I'm definitely old, especially when the life expectancy is only 45.
Oh my.
So these were the Ring of 9 from the prelude.
Ooh.
The servant arrives back before Shallan can get out her things and tells her that Yasna does have a breeding alcove set aside. Shallan asks to be taken there, and they use a pulley elevator to go up a few floors. Once on the correct floor, the servants lead her down a hallway to an alcove with a balcony looking over the Vale. Shallan can see the other balconies glowing with different colored lights from the spheres being used by the occupants. Shallan then dismisses the servant and sits down in the single chair in the alcove. She places some spears in the bowl on the table and tries to think of ways to impress Yasna. First, though, she decides to clear her mind by drawing. She gets out a new sheet of paper and a charcoal pencil and closes her eyes, remembering Carbranth as she had memorized it when landing at the docks. She then opens her eyes and begins to draw. She had no formal training, but she does what feels right, starting with broad strokes and then slowly adding more and more detail. She goes into almost a trance, losing track of time as she puts her memory into the piece of paper. Once done, the image is gone from her memory, and she felt more relaxed, as if holding onto a memory put her body under tension. So what do you think about how Shallan can take memories of things and then draw them perfectly, but apparently only once, like the memory's gone once she draws it out?
That was cool. Also, what would that even
Why does
categorize as?
why does she seem like a ferrochemist in a different way? Like I draw my memory and I put it in this object.
Also, memory was capitalized at multiple points
Yes.
here, just so you know, Mythic.
Interesting.
Next, Shallan draws Yalb and compares drawing someone to snipping off a part of their soul like you would remove a piece of a plant to grow a duplicate. Creation's Bren begin to appear around her and her sketchpad, as large as one of her fingers. They usually took the shape of things they had seen recently and were always silvery in color. Once done, she's happy that she got the eyes right, thinking that the eyes were associated with crystal and glass, one of the 10 essences. Someone gonna say something?
No.
No.
Oh, I just thought I heard something. Okay. Shallan finds that she collects people, memorizing faces and drawing them later. Her father had been angry at her for drawing the dark-eyed gardeners at their home. She had then only drawn people in private, focusing on plants and animals when out in the open instead. A third blank page stares at her, begging to be used. She begins to draw Yasna using her soulcaster. She thinks that soulcasters are powers from the Almighty, which also goes by another name, Elithanathil, he who transforms. Also, if you know, I don't know if you noticed, but that name, Elithanathil, is a palindrome, which means it's the same forwards and backwards when written.
Which, yeah.
Write it out
That's
here.
cool.
Elithanathil. So what do you think about Shallan? How Shallan's father treated her?
Right. Once again, a great dad, you know.
Yep.
The best of dads in all these books.
And then also, what do you think about this other name of the Almighty that means he who transforms?
Clearly, he's a Power Ranger.
I mean, honestly, who in this world doesn't transform? They're all transformers.
What if it's? Well, it depends. It could be like. Fuck, it's because it depends who that is. Like, if it actually is somebody from a different world who just came by here and stopped, or is it like a? No, it could be just like the actual entity or whatever.
The Shard.
Yeah.
So once done, the memory fades from Shallan, and a perfect replica of the scene was on the paper. She had drawn over 24 creation spren and thinks that she'll need to lacquer the page so that it doesn't smudge. However, she takes time to examine Yasna in the image, thinking her to be a master of the feminine arts but not delicate. She decides she needs to write something to impress Yasna, as she is a woman impressed by logic. Shallan writes her a letter, stating that her education had been limited, as it was a secret that many rural Vedan houses had limited education. However, she states that she had to hunt down information instead of just being taught it, which she thinks is superior. Her letter, its intent was a lie, but it was built on truth about herself and why she could make a good word for Yasna. So what did you think of her letter that she wrote?
What's the letter for? It was for the other.
It's for Yasna. She's trying to convince her to
girl.
reconsider her being her ward. She's like, I know my
I feel like-
education's lacking, but I had to work a lot harder for it than a lot of people.
I remember being like pissed off at that point as well. So I was like, why would you write the letter so nicely? I would have been storming off already.
I would have left.
Because she needs the
Fuck him.
soulcaster.
Yeah, you can get it in other ways. Like, I don't know, chopping an arm off.
Yeah, because that's not going to get her hunted down and killed.
I mean, that's only if they know it's you.
I'm pretty
Right.
sure Yasna would
Good.
know who cut her arm off.
If you do it
Well, she would be
smart
dead.
enough- I mean,
She might not
hopefully.
be. Just cutting an arm off doesn't mean you're going to be dead.
No, but if you're gonna cut an arm off, you might as well finish it.
Oh yeah, because killing the princess of Alethkar is not going to be something as I think it's less dangerous to trying to steal from her instead of killing
Fine,
her.
just stab the eyes,
Oh my
stab
God.
the ears, cut off the tongue.
Oh my gosh, I don't think that's a good plan.
It would work out.
Would it? I don't know about that.
What do you mean? It literally would work out.
Don't think
Who
it
would she
would.
tell?
She can write.
Cut off the fingers.
God.
I mean, cut off both hands.
Right, you're right.
She
She
writes
got right
her
then.
own blood on the wall with her stumps.
But she,
Smear her blood on the wall and hope that she writes good. Yeah, okay.
without eyeballs, right?
Oh yeah, we gotta take her eyes too. I forgot about that. Yeah. Mhm.
But yeah, so suddenly she hears footsteps and gets to her feet, worried that it was Yasna. But instead, it was a young male ardent who apparently was also looking for Yasna and asked if he could wait here with her. Shallan tries to offer him a seat, but he insists on going to find his own and comes back a moment later. Shallan is embarrassed to realize the ardent is quite handsome and thinks that the 3 ardents her father had owned had been elderly men who went around to the villages in their lands helping people with their glories and callings. Once seated, the ardent, who introduces himself as Brother Cabsel, notices Shallan's drawing and compliments them after getting Shallan's name. Shallan treats him very formally, and Cabsel says respect is like manure, and sometimes you can use too much of it. He also asks if Shallan would treat the Almighty like this, but she says she would likely be screaming in pain, since it is said that whoever looks upon the Almighty will be burned to ash. Cabsel then threatens to dance on the table, but Shallan begs him not to. So, what did you think about Cabsel?
It was cool. I like him.
Yeah.
He reminds me of someone from a book we read previously, but I don't remember who exactly.
Shallan then tells Cabsel that she taught herself to draw using a book of instruction from a man who died over 300 years ago. Cabsel is impressed and says he needs to read more. She then takes a memory of him studying her drawing, and Cabsel offers to lacquer Shallan's pictures for her, knowing that she's from Yakaved due to how she treats ardents. Shallan then realizes that Cabsel seems to think she is part of Yasna's group and states that she is just trying to become her ward but is not with her yet. Cabsel asks if she can do him a favor, which she replies that she'll do anything reasonable, which Cabsel calls a pity before asking her to tell Yasna he has stopped by. Shallan briefly notes that Cabsel is Herdasian, as he speaks of wanting to try to convert Yasna. So what do you think about Cabsel wanting to try to convert Yasna?
Like any other religious person.
Yes, and also for some reason that doesn't fit his image, but
I mean, he's kind of like it's kind of like a challenge to him more so than like I feel like.
oh no, that seems suspicious to me. But okay, because in the first place, I get it's a challenge, but knowing how she is, I don't think she would be very impressed with any of those attempts.
Yeah, I don't think it would work out.
Personally, as her,
Oh my god, here
best
we go.
friend.
You hated her like 2 seconds ago.
I do hate her. You can
Are
hate
you
your
her-
best
Oh
friend.
my gosh.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think you should hate your best friend.
No, because keep your, enemies closer and whatnot. Anyway.
Okay. So Shalon is worried Yasna won't take an audience with Cabsol Shalon asks, but he replies that it wouldn't be her fault and that he'll just come back again and hopefully see Shalon again. He also asks what she likes, to which she replies, jam. The art then leaves and Shalon finishes lacquering her other 2 pictures before hearing Yasna coming. She gathers her things, leaving the letter on the desk, and waits outside next to the alcove as Yasna approaches with a small group of servants. So how do you think Yasna's going to react to Shalon waiting for her?
Not great.
Oh, well, she entered pissed as fuck,
And
but
she was already looking angry, apparently.
Yeah, when before she came in, I was like, why would he even do this? Like, she's like not a happy person.
So that's the end of our 4th chapter. I just have a couple overview questions.
Oh, wait, our 4th chapter? What do you mean? I thought
was
it
our
was the
fourth-
7th chapter.
Well, it's our 7th chapter of the book, the 4th chapter of this episode. So do you think Kaladin will be able to get himself back into the army somehow during this book?
Yes.
Yeah, or he'll die trying. He probably will die trying.
Think he'll be
He
like
probably will succeed and then die.
You think he'll be like Calcier and like die as he's like doing something really cool?
No.
No?
He's just gonna die.
Okay.
Also, Kelsier didn't die doing anything cool. He got bitch slapped.
What do you?
He killed an Inquisitor, like really badass.
He got slapped.
Slaughtered an Inquisitor, and then stood face to face with the god of their world, and basically spat in his face. Ugh.
Well, how
Seriously,
can you not spit when half your fucking face is gone?
I mean, that was after, but yeah, sure. Pretty sure that's what's killed him. He was just boom, one hit. So I mean, that's a god. So
Also, do you think Shalon will be able to become Yasna's ward, or will she have to try and steal the Soulcaster another way?
Nah, she's definitely gonna be able to do it.
I kind of hope that she's not going to become her ward, but honestly, I feel like something's gonna happen where she will be. She'll finagle her way in there.
Finagle.
Hey, you don't like my words? Huh? My pretty words?
What do you mean?
My pretty words, Agnes?
It's a weird, wonky word.
What, finagle?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're flabbergasted by that.
All right.
Midnight. Don't just stay silent. It's a podcast.
I
not
know.
like-
I was getting the
She was
chapters ready.
listening. She
I'm
was
listening and getting the chapters ready for next time.
and gonna put us in another depressive state because we're gonna read like 4 chapters and then have
Actually, we're
no
reading
clue.
7 chapters.
No, we're not.
We actually are. So basically, we're reading next time chapters 8 to 11 plus interludes 1, 2, and 3. So basically, how every part of this book, at the end of each part, you get 3 interludes, which are kind of like other point of views from other like areas of the world.
No, you're wrong.
I'm not wrong. So yeah, so we'll be reading 4 chapters and 3 interludes, and that will be the end of part 1 after next week. So look forward to that. I will pin this for you guys. So yeah, thank you to everyone for listening.
You never pin it anymore.
I do. I always pin it.
No, I had to ask her last night. She was like, "Oh
No, you
shit, I
didn't. It
forgot."
was there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anyways,
Doesn't ever pin him anymore.
I do. Anyways, so thank you guys all so much
All right.
for
Well,
listening.
thank you all for showing up. We're gonna get out of here. I'm Mythic. That's darkness. That's midnight.
At midnight.
Bye and good night.
Bye.